Wonderful. So thank you all so much for coming together on this Wednesday afternoon. Hope it's a lunch and learn for you guys. Got a snacks. You're in for a treat. We have some subject matter experts from the community for our first ever community roundtable. This is something we've wanted to do for a little while now, and we are super grateful for the speakers that we have on deck today. I am Kari. I'm going to be hosting. I am the founder of the Greater Baltimore Climate Initiative. We can get into a little bit about that as I show you all the agenda for today. We want to welcome James, Quandra, and Shan. They are doing some incredible work in the community, and they're going to talk with you about that today. I'll introduce them shortly. I'll do a little bit of an overview of the Greater Baltimore Climate Summit and the Greater Baltimore Climate Initiative. They will give their presentations, very robust, thought out, elaborate presentations they have. I will open it up for Q&A. And then if we have time, we will get a chance to do some breakout rooms where you all have an opportunity to talk with the speakers directly. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect,
Yes.
perfect. After we come out of breakouts, we might do a little bit of a recap and then we'll close out. So for those of you who are here for the first time, the Greater Baltimore Climate Summit is a grassroots initiative organized by a committee of professionals across university, government, private sector, as well as the public sector. And we're all about increasing economic impact around climate, environment, clean energy, sustainability in this region, making sure that community organizations have access to robust partnerships to bring more funding into their organizations and build capacity. And we also want to raise awareness about the most pressing environmental issues and who has the most cutting edge solutions that they're working towards at this time. And we also like to say that we create a safe space to have challenging conversations around infrastructure, policy, and economic barriers. So these webinars are generally extremely raw for open, candid conversation, and we really want to talk about what it takes to push our region to the next level. Want to give a shout out to our incredible host committee. This is a group that makes this initiative possible and makes the summit possible. Karima, I see, is on today. Shan is one of our host committee members. Super appreciative to him. And thank you to any of our other host committee members who are on the call today. A little bit about our impact. If you want to take the time to read, we can send this out as well to anyone who's interested. Our numbers are probably outdated. We've been able to host over 1,500 stakeholders at in-person and hybrid events to talk about pressing issues. We've had over, I think, 100 or 150 speakers at this point talk about their cutting edge solutions to these issues. And we've been able to survey folks as well on what is important to them, right? So you in the audience as a community member or environmental professional have been participating in the way that we design our programming and our events. So we appreciate you, and we're going to continue to use a participatory design approach so that this organization can stay grassroots and community led, but also do some super impactful and big things. So with that being said, I want to get into well, first let's appreciate our partners who make it possible, right? But I want to get into the speakers that we have lined up for you today. Again, you are in for a treat. These folks are doing some incredible work in Baltimore, and I'm excited to see what they have planned for this upcoming year. So first, I want to introduce Sean Gordon. He is a host committee member, as I mentioned, but he is also a guy who really just loves the environment and he loves students. So Sean Gordon of Cool Green Schools, he loves engaging students in studying and improving their health and environments. Students choose their projects and work together in small groups to produce their own research and results. Sean partners with researchers and students from Hopkins University to help K through 12 students understand their topics, how to create their studies, and analyze their results. His students are integrating health, curiosity, and project-based learning to solve real problems. And if you were at the Greater Baltimore Climate Summit and you had a spider plant, you want to thank Shan and his students, right? Because they spend basically all year, getting those spider plants ready. And so we appreciate him and his students, and I'm going to hand it over to Shan. Yeah,
I think he might be on mute.
Shan, can you hear us?
Thank you, Kari. Your presentation may be better than mine. And so I
No.
thank you for that great introduction. Kari came to me before the first climate summit, and it was like, well, I want to do this small thing. And by the time that she was done, it was a big thing. It was a very big thing, and it keeps getting bigger. So I'm just trying to hold on to the snowball while it goes down the hill, getting bigger and bigger as it goes. These are tremendous people to hang out with and to see um, what they've got in store. I'm just really honored to be a part of this. Um, so, Cool Green School. We we challenge students to be scientists, and we study and improve their health and environmental conditions at their schools. Nobody's coming to save them, right? So they're in the school that they're in, and but looking at it, wrestling with the issues around it, I think is a fun thing to do. Can you guys see my slides? Is that coming up?
Yep, all good.
Yes. Okay,
They
we good? Okay. So one of these things is not like the others. So do you guys see anything different in this chart um, about Baltimore? It's a chart about the annual number of hospitalizations for asthma. So Baltimore might have an asthma problem. And but if you're a student and you're going to a school, do they ask you whether you were absent because of asthma? No, they do not. Do they monitor the air quality in the schools? No, they do not. About half of the students turn in the blue card on asthma health. So it's kind of a no ask, no tell program. And the schools don't refer students to asthma remediation programs. So these are things that we can start to deal with a little bit in this program. Um, Whoops, am I? Okay, so we also have problems fixing the problems that we know about. We've got maintenance is backlogged. We've got loud air cleaners that aren't used. We've got ventilation issues. We've got chemicals that probably shouldn't be in the school. We've got problems getting water to the kids. Oftentimes, either no water or no cups. Um, in the library at Poly, half of the lights are out. Uh, we have some chemical issues in schools. But what's the use of a problem if you can't learn to fix it, right? And so the beauty of a problem is that it can give you something to study. And so we basically throw instruments at kids and say, okay, pick a topic, study it, tell us how you're going to make it better. And so here we've got a student that's testing to see if they've got ventilation. Not so much. Here we're testing for CO2 levels. Uh, yeah, class was empty, so it's not too bad. This is dashboard for air quality monitors that we put into a school. And red is not good. So we've got some work to do. And when we dig into that information, we can kind of tell where the red's coming from, right? Unfortunately, it's when the kids are in the classrooms, and with a good ventilation system, you wouldn't see that red. That you would start to see flat line around where it's yellow. Other student research programs, they've done it on exercise, sleep, stress reduction, effective light levels, school lunches, whether students do better on bouncy balls. It really goes through a gamut. Here we're doing Corsi boxes. It's an engineering exercise where we're building very low cost filters that could go home with kids that have asthma. And so this group is using three instead of four. These students are actually doing a study on how much the school would save if they went to LED lighting. Um, we have a fantastic relationship with Hopkins. Megan, one of the board members, is runs a class of practicum. And so I get to use some of her students or cooperate with some of her students at the graduate students at Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. They're interviewing the coach at Poly on what it's like to not have a working HVAC system. They built one, but it no longer works. Here, their graduate student is working with high school students on their research projects and talking about what a research study looks like. We also get their researchers to come in as guest lecturers. And so this one on sleep health and this one on indoor air quality in schools. So it's been a fantastic relationship. Now, this fall, we found that they had really high levels of radon in parts of Poly. And so one test came back at 20, where the action level is 4. Um, we reported that to the school system. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Yesterday, we got a big win. They installed a radon remediation system, and so yay, there's some kids and some faculty there that are probably not going to have to fight cancer now. And so that was a big win. That was cool. The next step for this project, we're going to try to break through the fourth wall of education, which is where the kids go when they aren't at school, right? So 8 hours at school, how many hours at home? So right now, the schools don't refer students to programs that could improve their health in homes. So home asthma remediation programs where they use integrated pest management, pest-resistant bedding, asthma medication training, and programs for weatherization and home renovations, which can replace boilers, stoves, other appliances, install insulation, improve the air quality at no charge for low income and moderate income families. This is huge. We often talk about, hey, we're going to do this net zero home school, but think if we make every student's home 10%, 20%, 30% more efficient. What's that going to do? And they can put up to $30,000, $40,000 into a home to make it come up to where it needs to be. So we're going to be trying to train social workers, nurses, and office staff to refer to students to these programs. All right, and that's really kind of it for me. Thank you very much.
So much, Sean. Sure that Sean will be able to share his contact information in
Oh,
case.
should I put it back up or?
I think putting it in the chat will be helpful.
Okay, cool.
I'm sure some folks would love to connect with you. So shifting gears to bring Quandra Gray, an agricultural educator, systems builder, and founder and chief cultivator of What the Sprout. Her work centers on food cultivation as infrastructure for wellness, climate action, and economic opportunity, with a focus on community-based indoor and outdoor growing spaces. Oh my goodness, how cool. Rooted in Baltimore, she designs systems that move people from food insecurity to sustained growth, stewardship, and collective resilience. So thank you so much, Quandra, for your time and sharing your expertise with.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, everybody. Let me share my screen. I gotta put a timer on it because I feel like I talk too much sometimes. All right, I'm gonna share. Present. Okay, let me know when you can see my screen.
All good.
Oh, good. Hi. Okay. Hi, everybody. Quandra Gray, Chief Cultivator with the Sprout. Um, I'll be sharing with you the pilot that I'm working on. Food cultivation is infrastructure, focused on a behavioral change project to help people focus on to benefit from health, climate, and economic resilience. So I started with the Sprout in 2023 with the belief that teaching people to grow their own food is a practical solution to food insecurity, social disconnection, and preventable health challenges. And I strongly believe that agriculture is the foundation of self-sufficient communities. Health, community, and climate solutions start in the soil, at least the educational parts. So, main mission is we create pathways for people to grow food in a simple, sustainable way, advancing food security, wellness, and healthier planet. So, in 2023, what do we call it? I started flying a plane as I was building it. Um, and in the spring, I got a contract with Baltimore City Recreation and Parks. Didn't really, I knew I wanted to go and grow food in my community, but I'm like, how am I going to do it? Got a contract, and then I started in October. I got a contract right in the spring, for the summer, actually. It was for the summer. And for the past 2 years, my business model has been charge institutions to do programming for a community. And I run around town with my vertical shelf, dirt, seeds, all these little educational packets, and do one-off workshops or full-on programs. And in the full-on programs, we would sow the seed, grow the food, harvest the food, and then prepare it in meals. And then these one-off workshops, we'd harvest and then would do like some type of tasting, or I give them some recipe and they take the greens home. There's a few stats, worked with over 550 people, probably much more. Those were the in actual workshops and programs, but you stop me, I will teach you and tell you what you need to do. Over 41 workshops, 2 government contracts, and I sold a bunch of kits, worked them into the project, into our contracts, or do these self-watering kits. You can go get them online. So here are some of the community partners I've worked with. Some. My favorite places to be are at libraries. It was the best place for me to be. I grew up on the west side of Baltimore. So the libraries where I love to be, a ton of people would come in, even gardeners, and you'll see a picture of that later. I move fast. Okay, and then here are some of my ecosystem and supporters. This top left one, Mark is here. Hi, Mark. Um, Community Greens, Baltimore champion, Innovation Works. My business is MBA certified, it's a for-profit business, and supported by this. And I'm always learning. Literally, I'm about to get a certificate in mushroom growing so I can teach community members how to grow some meatless mushrooms, for meatless dishes. And here's an image of me going around town. Adults up in the top right-hand corner, this is in Harford County Library. These were avid gardeners. Most of those people had gardens, but they wanted to come and learn about microgreens. So they were there. I worked with the children, harvesting, preparing the meals, lecturing, all the things. Really fun. Okay, so you start a business to solve a problem. And I just got some updated stats. According to Johns Hopkins University, food insecurity is slipping. We're regressing. 37% of Baltimore City residents experience food insecurity. It's 10% points up from 2024. And on the climate side, people are still experiencing, according to Baltimore Region Climate Action Plan, they're still experiencing um, super hot summers. The heat index is really high, and then poor air quality. One of my community partners, Langston Hughes Community Business Resource Center, I'm like integrating to that community. This is a school inside of the community center um, that has been repurposed as a community center for youth educational services. I now have a space inside of it where we do vertical farming and do my educational. So I grow all kinds of vegetables, everything in here. And the spider plant is on the other side. I think the spider plant is on the, oh, there it is. There it is, Sean. The spider plant is in the middle of everything. I grow a lot of food, but that cute little spider plant is part of the family. We don't eat it. Um, Carrots, beets, anything that I think we can grow indoors, I bring people in to learn, teach them how to do it. And so beautiful space. And now I don't have to run around town too much. It's mostly come to visit me in the vertical space to learn about it. This is a couple of school kids from a local classroom, a local school in the neighborhood. And so one of the challenges I had when I was working 2 weeks, I was experiencing burnout. I'm currently still a solopreneur. I hire contractors every now and again. But having the space in the vertical space, I'm able to do more than touch and goes, meaning I can create cohorts where people can work and have everlasting, create everlasting change and have them become consistent growers. And this pilot that I'm about to tell you about, I now can work on the programming of it within Siege. Last week, I found out I was selected as a fellow, so I'm really excited about that. So about the behavior change pilot that's coming up, I've been working on it. Uh, the goal is to get community members to grow consistently. So as I said, I was doing these like touch and go workshops. Most of the people that I've worked with, I didn't really get to see them, afterwards. I don't know if they kept growing. And so the whole point of this is to get people to grow consistently. And I'll show you the bigger picture. A little bit about Langston Hughes Community Business Resource Center. Really proud to be in this community center, all of them. This is one of 17 resiliency hubs. Resiliency hubs means that Baltimore City would activate these community centers if there's an emergency. They would send Baltimore residents to one of these 17 locations throughout the city, and then they would send resources, food, cots, and then to stay over. This is due to inclement weather or some other sad catastrophe. I'm inside of the space. So the business goal for me as a for-profit business is to get to other community centers after we get the results of this evidence-based program. And then I would tell you that I started the behavior change or got all the steps to behavior change project from Chesapeake Behavior Change website created by Chesapeake Bay Trust. Casey Welts, I called her and I found out that her and her team built and designed it. I would recommend you go and read up on some of the steps to create a behavior change pilot. But I'll just tell you a few overview steps of who and what we will be focusing on. The single change behavior, well, we just want people to grow consistently for the 6 weeks that we'll be in a cohort. And the audience will be first dibs. So we have a pantry downstairs in the Langston Hughes Community Center. Most community centers do have it. That's why they're resiliency hubs. And so the first people that would be able to come in, if they're interested in learn how to do this, are people in the pantry and then everyone else inside the community. And I want to say that climate action is the hook. I mean, it's not the hook, it is the byproduct. If people are insecure in their food, the last thing they would care about is, putting tree canopies up and, recycling properly. So we teach them food cultivation, but we also integrate climate change actions in there. And I'll show you the list soon. But the first step is they learn how to grow microgreens. They sustain that skill by growing in containers. And then growing communally is what I want people to do the most. So yes, you as an individual can grow for yourself and your family, but then step outside your yard and start growing with the people around you. And then climate action beyond practice happens when you have something to protect. So if your carrots keep, getting crunchy under the hot sun, you get more aware about, the heat is beaming down on your vegetables. You need some type of cover. Also, learn about Baltimore and their heat index and how that could be a negative effect on your health. Okay, and so here's the 5 climate actions that happen as a result as we work through the program. Alongside them, learn how to cultivate, building healthy soil, grow smart and in simple ways. So we're not having to buy a bunch of things, use things around you. The sun is free, the water's free, there's free soil beneath your feet. How can you get growing? Cooling and greening your neighborhood, reducing waste, and keeping food local. And then really quickly, this is the site of the campus, but here's the bigger vision that right on each other's block, this is like right across the street from Langston Hughes, we can get people to start growing in their individual homes in a shared basis, meaning down the street, Sean and James is growing tomatoes down here, Sean is growing carrots in the middle, and I'm doing the corn and Carrie's going to do the potatoes. And then over time, we do our share, we do our grow. This reduces food insecurity, one, but I love the social aspect. The challenges we're having, we're all experiencing, especially with mental health and wellness. We have clinicians in our program that will actually work through therapeutic practices with them as we grow communally. So communities get tighter because now we're relying on each other for food and resources. And it's fun. It's not, any super calamity emergency, but you come together and prepare food together. Okay, that's it. As I build this out, so being a part of as a fellow inside of Siege, we have to have a capstone project. This project will be the highlight of the work that I do there. But I've been seeking, and I will be seeking during the process, subject matter expertise around what I'm doing. You can scan the QR code and fill out the form. If nothing else, just get on the hyper-specific list. I'll be sending out information and updates about as I go through the program. Thank you.
Thank you so much for overviewing. So cool. You got to invite us to come in and visit and see what you have going on someday.
Definitely, yes.
And so we are going to introduce James next. James Earl Hollywood III is a nonprofit executive, educator, and climate justice working at the intersection of development and community resilience. He's the founder and ED of Together for You Incorporated, which is a nonprofit wellness and leadership for young people. He's also the president and founder of Hollywood Enterprises and Associates, which is a consulting firm supporting public agencies, nonprofits, and community-based organizations in systems and strategy. He also serves on the Climate Advisory Council for the Maryland Comptroller. Just handing you the floor.
Thank you, Carrie. Good evening, good morning to some. It's a pleasure and honor being here with you all, and I want to thank my colleagues for sharing a lot of insightful information with you all today, which are areas that I'm really passionate about when it comes to education, mental health, nutrition, and wellness and community. So I'm not originally from Maryland. I'm originally from Missouri. I spent 12 of my years in Arkansas. I've been involved with climate injustices for over 15 years, since the year about 2012. I have worked in early workforce development for young people. I have worked in early education, putting together free childcare for thousands of families across the state of Arkansas. And what moved me here to the DMV area was to work on strategies for juvenile justice and child welfare, preventing young people from entering into those systems unnecessarily. And my latest assignment was as deputy director at the National Alliances for Mental Illnesses. And I named those different experiences on top of being a professor and being a father is because I have seen firsthand through my own personal lived experiences and also with people within the community that I grew up in and the people that I have served throughout my tenure of leadership that young people need us and they have the challenges that we need to address at a very young age as much as possible and to intervene. Not saying that when they become teenagers that we still cannot make significant changes, but I believe that it starts early and it starts young and it starts with community. and I have based my work around partnerships and community. Together for You was founded along with all those bases of those foundations of different work experiences that it takes a village to raise a child. And today I want to speak about a subject that we normally don't speak about when it comes into effect when we talk about climate. So young people, they are challenged with not only when we talk about recycle programs. As you know, we speak about um, disinvested youth or disinvested communities or young people that come from many traumatic experiences and backgrounds, and uh, young people are dealing with things that are climate related that can be prevented. When we have young people in the classroom that may seem like they may be sleepy or that they not getting the proper amount of rest, it could be indication of food insecurity, as Quandra said. It could be indications where a young person may be dealing with some challenges at home, or it could have simply be the air quality of the home and not being comfortable enough to be able to rest. These type of challenges as young people get older, they become significant health factors that can lead up into many different challenges if they are not addressed earlier. Young people are dealing with stress and anxiety, and we are seeing it since the pandemic. We are seeing numbers are increasing rapidly. I have spent a great deal of my doctoral studies in this particular subject around young people stress and anxiety levels. Young people are emotional, not knowing how to process these different type of emotions or knowing how to navigate conflict and having difficulties with focus and concentration. A lot of young people, as we see in the news area where there's autism rates that are pretty high. There is young people challenged with ADHD and not knowing how to navigate those things through their IEPs in school. And so these things show up in the body first before we start talking about the external factors that young people deal with. When young people, what they bring into the school, it shapes how they show up long before we start to engage them. There's some young people that are interested into climate related issues or trying to work on policies or trying to get engaged to work on some of those larger issues like carbon decarbonization or recycling programs or dealing with high electricity rates or trying to find more green initiatives to get off a lot of bad fossil fuel materials. Then there's also young people that really they are trying to survive and they may not necessarily know the information or the education as it pertains to climate related matters, or they may just know a snippet about it and they just worried about how they're going to be able to provide a next meal or how they're going to be able to stay safe in their community. And these type of challenges we really need to focus on an individual level. And so that is where the relationship part comes in at, where we really work with the individual one-on-one to get to know the individuals to be able to help them to higher levels of self-sufficiency. Young people bring into school these type of awareness and teachers, administrators notice these things. But I think when it comes down to digging down to the root cause of some of these issues and challenges will help mitigate some of those long-term problems we spoke about. Mental well-being is the foundation of engagement. Where they learn the regulation and safety and then feeling supported and belonging. And then from the support and belonging that they feel like they are part of the solution, they can take these activities and become responsible and become enlightened to be able to bring other people along. So at Together for You, the organization that I founded, the solution that we working towards, we piloted over the last year to working with young people in the university setting and all the way from middle school to high school levels to dealing with the factors of what young people are dealing with individually through mentorship. Some of this mentorship is done with the one-on-one intentions to be able to develop the whole person. The young person we bring in to do developmental studies to be able to determine what their personal goals are and to be able to work on specific like executive projects to be able to help boost their skills level so they can be more equipped and for the workforce. And then we partner with the local schools. We partner with local community partners to through a referral-based system to be able to deal with things that we are not able to deal with on a medical level. For example, if they want to seek a therapist, we make those referrals to the school districts. One of the other components that we are working towards, young people are into technology these days, and they not putting the cell phones down, and they not walking away from roadblocks. And we wanted to be a digital solution for young people, and so we are working towards a solution with that, and we are building an app. We have a software development team, and we are bringing some expert consultants from Latin America this coming spring to help develop that app. It's a gamified way and accountability where they can be able to take care of that avatar in the app, and also it will hopefully reap the fruit in their own individual life as they take care of their companion inside the app. There's also a component that we ran through in our first focus group that young people have a challenge with memorization, with communication, leadership development skills, and we are working those integrations into the app. Also, keeping them on task so they won't forget things, important things, and they having a mentor there to be able to have that relationship with them and also walk alongside them. There's that leadership approach where there's leaders that walk in front of you, that walk beside you, and walk behind you. Um, Together for you is all three of those. We try to show the way. We try to allow the youth to be able to go out there and experience things on their own. And when they do experience things on their own, we walk alongside of them to be able to support their growth and development all the way up into adulthood. So I want to say thank you. This is a topic that we are continuing to work towards to be able to build up the whole community, starting with one individual at a time through mentorship.
How incredible, James. Thank the mental well-being is so important, right? To take the next section of time to open the floor for all have any questions that you would like to present to the speakers today. You can raise your hand and be on camera and we can call you to ask your question, or you can feel free to drop the question in the chat and we can read it out and have the speakers respond that way. Let me just make sure I can see everyone.
Maybe that's a question that there's already apps like Focus Friends and French, and curious how the app would distinguish itself. So that was one of the initial phases that we went through when we was mapping this whole concept out. One distinguished factor that was going to set us apart was that it was going to be set up into a game of achievements. The Finch app is a pretty good app. I have used it in the past, and we was going to it was instead of just selecting a bird, we through the focus group they indicated that they wanted more than one character that they can choose from. The logo when we first started out with the app was a butterfly, and we had to be gender non-specific and create a community garden where people can be able to select different avatars for the app to be able to perform the features and the accountability tasks and milestones in the app itself. So it's going to move into like a game of achievements and milestones, and so that's what set that app apart from those others.
Thank you, Chris, for that question. And thank you, James, for the answer. Do we have any other questions?
Hello, Kerry. Can you hear me?
Damien, I saw
And
you come off mute. Did you have a
oh
question?
yeah, maybe like a quick one for each. So Sean, now I really liked kind of how you had the school-based program. Are you in one particular school, or is it citywide, or do schools invite you in? I was just wondering how you work or how you connect with the school.
Great. So that's one of the real challenges, right? Is how to get
Mhm.
into a school. And so
Mhm.
what I normally look for is a good teacher. And I'm just like, well, let's figure this out. And
Mhm.
coming from the top up, I mean, there's not a lot of openness to community people coming into schools. And I've yeah, that can be a little frustrating. But I've
Mhm.
been very effective in finding teachers that are interested in exploring a subject and then going in. So right now I'm mostly at Poly. I've got meters at Federal Hill, living classrooms. There's a school, a private school out kind of the south of town, Mount St. Joseph. I've got Carver in Baltimore County, and then there's another one up north in Baltimore County as well. And so I'm welcome to go. I'm glad to go to other places. I do have meters, and we can run some projects. So
Mhm.
I just am looking for the right partners for that.
Okay. Oh, no, thank you. And Quandra, I was really impressed with like how you connect the dots between food, the climate change, and I was wondering like for for the people at home, you had like you showed a picture of like a neighborhood and a block and people growing different vegetables. Do you choose like how do you find like how do you approach the residents? Like do you pick a certain block and say, or or the people that have kind of went through your program and then you teach them how to grow the vegetables?
Thank you, Damien, for that question. This
Okay.
is actually the pilot that I'm designing, and we have a couple
Okay.
scenarios, okay, where
Hmm.
we go to an individual that frequents the center, or we go block by block. I'd rather do block by
Okay.
block, but it
Hmm.
depends on the resources that come in and the bandwidth and the team that I can build. That will determine how we do
Gotcha.
outreach. But I
Gotcha.
I
Makes
would
sense.
prefer to do block by block. Yeah,
Okay. No, no, thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. And no, thanks. That was all. Thank you.
Thank you for those questions and thank you for the answers. Don't be shy, guys. We have three amazing experts at the intersection of education, inclusivity, climate change, and they are here donating their time to us today. And what we'll do is we'll go into some breakout rooms. I'll make sure that the three speakers are dispersed across the breakouts. We'll come back, we'll do a recap, and then we'll send you guys back out into your workday. Pause the recording.